Hello, everybody. It is I, BigAl, once again. Something a little different today. I want to. It's something I haven't done before, and at least I don't think it's something I've never done before. And I figured the best way to do it is to rip off one of the OGs of YouTube, Dr. Stuart Ashens. So while I don't have a brown couch, I do have a red bed. So what am I showing off? Well, it's mostly my Famicom collection, but I wanted to show you some of the odds and ends of retro gaming that I have procured over the years. Off screen, because it's plugged into the wall, I have an original Nintendo Entertainment System, and I don't want to go through the trouble of disconnecting it when I went through hell trying to connect it. But I will show you something that I do have as a part of the Nintendo collection. This is an orange Zapper. Zoom out a little bit here. That's an orange Zapper. Now, used to be gray. Oh my god. You have no idea how satisfying that was back in the day. But I don't have an original gray, but I do have this orange one. And I also have a repro sold by God, who's the company that does the retro consoles that can play pretty much everything. But I got a Zapper from them, and it just doesn't do that. But anyway, that's the Nintendo Zapper. I also have the Power Glove. It's so bad. Now, I've worn this a couple times, not to play any games, but to just see what it feels like. The foam here is deteriorating. The comfort foam in the middle, like you barely just press it, and it will not go back. In fact, look at that. Just pressing it, and it's deteriorating so much. It's rubbing off of my hands, and it's gross and sticky and awful. But yeah, here is an original Power Glove, something that wasn't cheap to procure. And speaking of something that wasn't cheap to procure, I also have the savior of the video game industry, Rob, the motherfucking robot. And he's actually signed by Rob and Doug Walker of Channel Awesome. Probably hilarious in hindsight, but I have a story. So, one time at Youmacon, I was dressed up as Captain N, the Game Master, and I had my Zapper, I had my belt, and I had Rob. And they're like, oh my god, it's Captain N! And I give them Rob, and I'm like, hey guys, you want to check out Rob? And like almost by instinct, they started signing it, and then they stop and they go, "Oh shit, did you want us to sign this?" And I'm like, you know what, fuck it, go ahead. You've already started. It's already awkward as it is. You might as well go ahead and finish it. So now we have Doug Walker and Rob Rules with Rob Walker. So I have I have Channel Awesome. I have the fucking scar of Channel Awesome permeating my room, but it's fine. The Walker brothers were probably the least offensive members of that community, and unfortunately, I don't think it works anymore. The batteries, I don't even know if there are batteries in here. What the fuck? No, there are no batteries in there, so clearly, obviously, it wouldn't fucking work. I do not have the rest of the stuff that goes on them. I don't have the gyros. I don't have anything else. But anyway, let's continue on, shall we? Let me just there we go. Next in the collection, a Tiger Electronic Street Fighter 2. This was actually given to me by my good friend Greg. So, will it work? Yeah, oh my god, it actually fucking works. Let's see. I don't... I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Anyway, so it does that thing where it's like everybody... Oh, there it goes. Okay. So, it's Guile. I don't know who the fuck that's supposed to be. Ken? Maybe? I don't... That's clearly Guile. Okay, that is Ken. And then... Well, then who the fuck is that? Okay, Guile. Ken. Oh, okay. It's supposed to be Ryu. Because he has white pants instead of dark pants. Okay. And then these are your opponents. Okay, so let's just... Yeah, I'm fighting Zangief here. Anyway, you get the fucking idea. It's a shitty game, but it's a nice little novelty that I have. Next up, we have... Super Fire Pro Wrestling. It's the only Super Famicom game that I own, and I have absolutely no way to play it. And it's a sealed copy, and I don't think I plan on opening it anytime soon. So there's Great Value, Great Muda on the front cover here. I think it's supposed to be Great Muda. You know, I wonder what that guy's story is. But anyway, yeah. You know, Fire Pro Wrestling, you know, Ichiban and all that nonsense. It amuses me that it's like a VHS tape. Anyway. Speaking of pro wrestling, we have... All Japan Pro Wrestling, The King's Soul. Now, it's a sealed copy, and, you know, there's Giant Baba smiling proudly. And we have scenes from All Japan Pro Wrestling. Ah! Shit! It just went down by $2. Anyway, we have Stan Hansen. We have Mitsuharu Misa. We have, excuse me, that's Giant Baba doing a leg sweep, and I believe that's Kenta Kobashi. And then we have... What else we got here? I think there's Juno Kiyama. And, Shane Douglas? I don't know. I don't know who's in this. I've never played it. I've never even seen footage from it, but it's by Human Entertainment. So I'm assuming it's going to play similarly to Fire Pro Wrestling, and this is for the Japanese PlayStation 1. What other gaming oddities do I have? Oh, we have another All Japan Pro Wrestling game, but this time one that's arguably far more recognizable. Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 Otake Show, which has an All Japan Pro Wrestling license. This is essentially the sequel to WrestleMania 2000, and arguably one of the arguably the best wrestling game ever made, even better than No Mercy, just because of the sheer amount of like options that you have. Even though there's no backstage, I've touched on this before. Even though there's no backstage, there's no gimmick matches, no hardcore, whatever. It's just the amount of like other options that they have that are more in tune with Japanese wrestling. And the final retro curiosity before I get to the main course is Bible Adventures for the Nintendo Entertainment System. I bought this purely for the meme. I bought this for no other reason than to say I have Bible Adventures for the Nintendo because I saw it on AVGN once, and that's pretty much it. Now, for the main course, the family computer. Now, unfortunately, this one doesn't work. It's basically it's basically a paperweight. The internals are fucked. But as you can see, you know, we have the two controllers. For those who don't know, this is the Japanese Nintendo. This is what came first. This was Nintendo's first major video game console. And this is where you put the cartridge. It has a built-in dust cover. If I could just... There it goes. This goes in here. And for the Nintendo Entertainment System for the original model, to take the disc to take the cartridge out, you had to physically. Well, let me show you right here. Let's say this is in. You had to physically like press down on it and then pull it out. Here, you have a mechanism that pushes it out and then you just grab it. There's also a reset button and a power button right here. And there's a port on the bottom here. You pull out this thing. There's a jack, and you could put mods. You could basically put in it's much similar vein to the Sega CD are console enhancements. So you have the Famicom disk system, the Famicom disk system. What else did they have? Family Basic, like had all sorts of like peripherals that you can attach to this thing. And just to give you a demonstration of how the top slot works, we're gonna put in a video game. Right, it's secure, it's ready to play, and now it's ready to put away. So that is the family computer. Now I mentioned the family disk system. I happen to own one game for it, Pro Wrestling. Now, according to Family Daily, these were notoriously easy to pirate because it's a floppy disk. You know, these were notoriously easy to pirate. It looked like. Oh, I see. Looks like on one side is Pro Wrestling. On side B is volleyball. I never noticed that. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that, but it is. This might be a pirated copy. I don't know. But anyway, that is what a disk system game looks like. Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. This is the first Famicom game that I ever got. The Black Bass. It is, as you can see, it's a blue cartridge. Almost every Famicom game has like a warning thing on the back here, and it's all the same. But this is not the Black Bass that you would know as Black Bass USA. This is actually the first game by Hot B, first fishing game by Hot B, and it's god fucking awful. The Black Bass game that we know of for the Nintendo Entertainment System, which I actually have a copy of, is just not around here. It's in storage. Is actually Black Bass 2. So there's that. Put that aside. This Kinnikuman Tag Team Wrestling. And one thing, if you look at Famicom games, one thing that blew my mind that I didn't know about until I started collecting these, and I'm by no means going to be a prolific collector. There's over 1,000 of these motherfuckers, and God knows I don't have the money or the space to get any of them. If anything, I might get a couple more and call it a night, and call it even. But with some exceptions, most Famicom game, like pretty much every third-party developer had a different look for their cartridges, and you're going to see that when I get into the Namco games. So this is what Bandai's looked like. And for comparison, here's what it looks like compared to a first-party Nintendo game. So this is Mahjong, one of the first games for the Nintendo Famicom. And the first line Nintendo games had this design on it. Had this like heart monitor looking thing, and the cartridges came in different colors. And very simple, had the title of it, like for example, Donkey Kong would just be Donkey Kong, and then this on. There's nothing pretty. Didn't have any game art. Didn't have any like sprites or anything. It's just the label. It's, you know, what you see is what you get. And then later on, they started being a little more fancy with their cartridges. Now, we got this in the West as Muscle. And I don't know what this is. I think this is the name of the person who owned it first, which is, it's fascinating when you look at all the Japanese cartridges. Look at all the Famicom carts and see the little nooks and see the little things that people write on them. I'm assuming this is somebody's name. So, what's next? I already showed off Mahjong. So, speaking of pro wrestling, Techmo Pro Wrestling. Here we have Dollar Tree Antonio Inoki on the front there. There's nothing written on here, but yeah, it's a basic Famicom cartridge. Let's see. Oh yeah, another another wrestling game, Tag Team Pro Wrestling. So I believe this started off as an arcade game by Technos, and it was published by Namco in Japan and Data East in America. And it is a god-awful game. So, but if you notice, Namco's Famicom name is Namcot, and they have their name etched in the top of all their cartridges. And they also had like little side labels. So this is the 13th game that they've published. And you know, again, I think this was somebody's name right there. And speaking of Namco, this is going to be interesting. So, as I was doing my shopping, my retro game shopping, my retro game hunting, you know, just to see what people had, I stumbled across something interesting. Welcome to the world of Family Stadium. So Nintendo released baseball. They're just baseball. They're their baseball game, you know, among their other sports games. Namco released Pro Yaku Family Stadium. Yaku being the Japanese name for baseball. Now, this series dominated the fucking baseball world. It is because of Family Stadium that baseball games look like they do today. They set the bar for how a baseball game should be. That's why when you look at most, even most baseball games today have like the camera over the batting mound and looking at the picture that's on top of the screen, like, and they slide, and the batter slides up and down and back and forth. That, you know, you have Family Stadium to thank. You also have Family Stadium to thank for the ungodly amount of fucking baseball games that are on this system. If you want to have an idea of how many fucking baseball games are on the Famicom, there's over 1,000 Famicom games. And there's around 50 that are just baseball. If you want to get into even more detail of all the Famicom games that you see here, and all of them as well, then I highly recommend you check out Famidaily. It is a series run by a YouTuber that is criminally underrated, does not get enough views. I believe he is super important for game preservation because of the sheer amount of games that he collects and all the information that he puts out on there. He has cataloged every single fucking Famicom game in existence, and they're all on his channel, and he's super... I cannot stress enough how important he is for game preservation. I urge you to check him out. He takes a look at not only the Family Stadium, or Famista as it was shortened to later on, but every baseball game, and it drove this poor bastard mad how many baseball games there were. So let me just give you a quick rundown of what I find interesting about, at least here. So it goes up to year 94. I have 86 to 89. So this is where it starts. This was ported to America as RBI Baseball, which was turned into a different series entirely. This is Namco. This is Namco's Family Stadium 87. Now, you may notice something interesting as I open the cartridge. The original and 87 are virtually fucking identical, with the only difference being this sticker that's slapped on there, as if it was an EA game. This... Like, EA wish it was this EA wishes it was this lazy. I'm putting that back up the case. Literally, the only difference between the original and 87 is a slight roster change, and, well, that's about it. So then we have 88. And see what I mean about the Namco logo? 88. And starting with Famista, 89. This is when the name change occurred. This is the first Namco game published for the Nintendo Famicom that looks like this. And from here on out, every Namco game would look like this. This bulky, weird-ass design that, and I was going to showcase this earlier, but I might as well showcase it now. I have a cartridge converter. Since I cannot play these games on my original Famicom due to it being, well, fried and fucked, I have a way to play it on my Nintendo Entertainment System. And this is a cartridge converter. It's very simple. You take a cartridge like the absolute worst, one of the worst games ever released on the Famicom, Mineseeker. You slip it in, and then you push it down. I'm not going to push it down because it is a bitch and a half to pull it out, but you get the idea. It converts it to be playable to an NES, you put it in, and it works pretty good. So, Mineseeker, as famously described by Famidaily, he goes by another name on YouTube, but I call him Famidaily because that's the series he's known by. Impossible to play and beat if you don't read Japanese, but also impossible to read and impossible to beat if you do read Japanese, because this is all about using your mind. Basically, there are puzzles you need to solve that don't have a set pattern, and you have to use your psychic powers to solve them. So basically, you're trying to beat the RNG. You're trying to beat RNG's at its own game, and it's virtually impossible without save states. And speaking of baseball, we have Shin Moreo Pro Yaku and Shin Moreo Pro Yaku 90. This would become bases loaded in the United States. From Jellico. You probably know what bases loaded is. It's a decent enough baseball game series. I think one of them was complete fucking dog shit that, remains in infamy. But from what I understand, it's still a decent baseball game. Next up, we have Gradius and Salamander. The Gradius cart is really cool. Like, look at that artwork with Vic Viper. That's awesome. You see Konami. Nothing on the back, but there's Konami's logo. But the Salamander cart is one of the most unique carts on there. This is the only cart that's translucent. I believe this is the only cart on the Famicom that uses this translucent design. Let's see, Konami, and as you can see, it uses the more contemporary Konami logo, and it's kind of weird. Okay, so it kind of does the same thing as Contra, where it's like it uses kanji that spells out the English name that wouldn't make any fucking sense if you tried to translate it into English. It's just they use kanji just for the way the symbols sound, because you have salamander on here and then salamander and hiragana. What is it? Katakana, hiragana, whatever. You have a saramanda. Yep, and then you have salamander written in the symbols. But what I think is really fucking cool is, you just look in there. It's translucent. You can actually see the Konami logo on the chips there, on the chip and the circuit board. That's really fucking cool. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Let's see what we have left. We have the infamous Pachicom. And why is it infamous? Because hidden in the code is a developer rant that you might know of if you watch Guru Larry on Fact Hunt. Basically, it's a hidden developer rant in the ROM of the game of some guy, bitching about his job and his coworkers. and the amount of hell he went through trying to program this fucking game. The game itself is not even close to being as notable as the developer ran itself. It's a pachinko simulator. That's all it is. And let's see, do I have anything else before I get to the final one? Oh, okay. So, completely underwhelming. This is golf. Just straight up golf. The original golf game for Nintendo. It's in a sealed box. And the only reason, I don't like the game Golf to begin with. The only reason why I bought it is because it's one of the earliest games Satoru Iwata worked on early in his career, and it's just kind of sentimental. Rest in peace, Iwata-san. And finally, the most infamous game I have in my collection, Takeshis motherfucking Challenge. You could probably guess why I got this one. Is there anything on the back? Tato Corporation. Tato. Beat Takeshi, you absolute fucking madman. Well, that's about it for my collection. I also have a Super Scope, but everyone knows what that looks like. So, I hope you enjoy. Hold on. I hope you enjoy. This has been BigAl. Let me know if you guys collect anything. And let me know if you do collect anything, let me know what you have. So this has been BigAl from a very different perspective, paying homage to one of my favorite creators on YouTube. This has been BigAl. Thank you for watching. Over and out.